Hello there, Patriot J here, and if you watch the intro video to this channel, you know that this channel is about American pride, but I did warn you that there's got to be in here some Kansas pride, because I'm a Kansas native. There's got to be some Montana pride. I'm a graduate of the University of Montana. There's got to be some Texas pride. I spent quite a few years in that state too. And 9 years in the Navy. There's going to be some Navy pride. Today was really about Navy pride to begin with, but I have this habit that I get on YouTube and I watch these videos, younger people, and when I say younger, I watch people everything from 17 to I think in their 40s. But remember, now, I'm 70 years old. I'm at an age where, I'm glad to be anywhere that I'm not seeing candles and smelling flowers. So I watch these videos with these younger people, and the reaction videos. They're reacting to, most of the time, music from my youth. Okay? And I saw one. Well, now, I have been a fan of the band Steppenwolf since 1968 or 69 anyway. And I saw one, the young lady was reacting to their song Born to Be Wild, which was their first big hit. It was also the main theme and one of two songs heavily featured of theirs in the 1969 movie Easy Rider. Well, as it happens, the video she had of Born to Be Wild was actually the opening credits of Easy Rider, featuring Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper riding down the highway on their motorcycles. And now, I love the movie Easy Rider. I don't know how many times I've seen it in my life. I never see it too many times. But as I was watching this, it dawned on me. Dennis Hopper is one of those Kansas treasures. I live within 40 miles of Dennis Hopper's hometown, Dodge City, Kansas. Now, Dodge City is more famous as the cowtown it was in the 1870s and as the setting for the long-running TV Western Gunsmoke, which, as Kansans, we used to laugh at a lot because not one episode was ever filmed in or around Dodge City. And we would see Marshall Dillon riding through mountains and around big boulders, and it just cracked us up. There's nothing quite like that in Kansas. So there's some big boulders up around Minneapolis at Rock City, but nothing like, no scenery like what they did in Gunsmoke. So we naturally got a big laugh out of that. Marshall Dillon would practically have to cross Pikes Peak to take a condemned man from Dodge City up to Hayes to be hung. It was just hilarious to us. Almost made Gunsmoke a comedy. But Dodge City should also be famous for Dennis Hopper. He did a lot in the movies as an actor, as a producer, as a director. And, Dodge City should be proud of him. But that made me think, too. Well, now, what about other famous Kansans? Well, now, let's see. Hugh Beaumont. Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver was from here. By the way, Gunsmoke They did have a native Kansan on the cast. Milbert Stone, Doc Adams. He was from Burton, Kansas. And his wife was from Delphos, Kansas, which is up by Rock City, Minneapolis. That general area. It's in Ottawa County, which is where Minneapolis is. They're in the same county at least. Well, Joe Walsh, not only of his solo music career, but of the James Gang and the Eagles, native of Wichita, Kansas. And we've got our athletes too. My hometown is Elkhart, Kansas. Okay, my what I consider my hometown, that's where I graduated from high school. Well, we produced two Olympians. Glenn Cunningham, who held the world record for the mile back in the 1920s, 1930s, somewhere in there, and Thane Baker, who was an Olympic sprinter. And of course, Jim Ryan, another world record miler, came from Wichita. Lynette Woodard, the first woman to play for the Harlem Globetrotters, came from Wichita. You know, Wichita has brought out a lot of people. I wish I could think of some of the, all of the names. There's been just so many, but Joe Walsh was from Wichita. But then again, too, it isn't all the big downs. I mentioned Elkhart coming up with two Olympians, one of them a world record holder. As you know, if you watch the intro, I taught high school last year, the 24-25 school year. The town where I taught high school, what I consider my hometown now. First of all, if you go back and you watch the old 1960s Batman series from TV, you run into Aunt Harriet, played by Madge Blake, a native of my town, not Elkhart, my town now. Also, he's maybe less famous. He's certainly not as famous as Joe Walsh, but you want to hear some really good music? Same high school I taught at produced a guy by the name of Freddie Johnston. Lives in New York City now, but every once in a while he comes back here, and I've seen him play on Main Street in this town. You know, he still has family and friends around here. He does come back from time to time, but he's better known probably as a songwriter, but look him up on YouTube. He's got some great music. With that said, this is some of my Kansas pride coming out. Sorry about that. But then again, too, I did say this video started out to be about my Navy pride. I've seen a lot of videos pop up on my feed on YouTube about the Marine Corps silent drill team, and they are good. Oh boy, watch them if you get the chance. They're wonderful. But the one that wasn't popping up ever for me was the U.S. Navy Honor Garden drill team. And so I went and found the video that I'm about to hook to this. Well, Navy pride here. This was from a performance in Norway, I don't know how long ago. And it must have been summer, they were wearing dress whites. But these guys, they're not silent like the Marines, but they're amazing. So, when I told you, I'm not, well, I said this on another channel, but I'm not going to do reaction videos. I'm going to just play the video and let you react.
Fra en av verdens mest kjente militære avdelinger, nemlig US Navy, presenterer vi under ledelse av løytnant Larry Green, the US Navy Ceremonial Guard Drill Team. Mine damer og herrer, the US Navy Ceremonial Guard Drill Team.